Welcome to Enter the Unknown.
Well,
My guest today, David Jones, gubernatorial candidate for the great state of Maine. This is really exciting for me because Enter the Unknown is a podcast that's kind of centered around adventure and like stepping beyond the familiar and doing things that, you're uncomfortable with or unfamiliar, unknown to you. And for me, a big adventure today is interviewing a political candidate.
okay.
And I've been
Yeah.
following your race a little bit. And a
Yeah.
little bit I know about your history is that you did run for governor once.
2005.
2005. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the purpose of my campaign then was to make sure that Peter Mills did not get the nomination. So obviously I succeeded. But it was interesting, good roundabout with all different candidates. I ended up making the ballot, but then I removed my name from the ballot. I didn't want to be, a spoiler. And I endorsed Chandler Woodcock.
Okay.
But it was a fun round. It really taught me a lot about politics. I say it's a blood sport, and people think I'm joking, but it's not. It's a tough game. It really is. So, I mean, when you are out there, you just, there's, in this case, we have a lot of candidates. It's kind of narrowed down, I think, to, 3 or 4 of us to have a shot at winning. But we're all vying for the same job. We all know what needs to be done, but then who's the one that can actually get it done? Right. That's it. I mean, so, you're hiring a CEO, you're hiring a guy that can actually go to Augusta and work with both sides of the fence. These people are, there are ulterior motives that many have, and you got to overcome that. And, I'm out of all the candidates, I'm the only one that's been around for as long as I have been. And I've been, integrally involved in politics now for 20 years, 21 years now. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Tell me about that interim time between 2005 and 2026 now.
Well, I did that run, and then after that, I just kind of wanted to make sure I worked with whatever candidates were trying to run that I thought were good for Maine. And in 2015, 16, I created the Make Maine Great Again Super PAC.
Oh,
It
okay.
was the first ever presidential Super PAC ever in the history of the state of Maine.
Oh, wow.
And I did that to get President Trump elected.
Mhm.
All right. I am a Trump guy. I voted for him in 16, 20, and 24. It was a pretty good effort of me and a few friends. And then Linda Bean was a big donor of mine, big supporter. She used to be a Jones, no relation, but everyone always thought that. And, she was just a great, great gal, and she loved the state of Maine. So I did Make Maine Great Again in 16. And I took about 6 months of my life off from selling real estate, which cost me a few bucks. And, then we won. I had the only victory party in the state of Maine. We came 22,000 votes from turning the state of Maine red, which is great. And then, I just kept my head inside the door, working with other candidates, helping the ones that I believed in. And 2020 was a real mess. But we know how that all turned out. And then in 2023 or something, I kept saying Trump will win this race when he gets in it. And it was like, nah, there's no way. He's been indicted. I'm like, it's just fake news. It's fake indictments. I says, it's all been proven now to be true. But so when he was running, I said, if he runs, then I'll run. And so he won. And now I'm running, right?
Yeah. Called your bluff.
Yeah, well, this is not a job for the faint of heart. It's not someone who's trying to. You have to ultimately win a popularity contest, but you also have to be a person of principle and conviction, and you got to have that fire in your belly, and you got to be able to know when to listen and know when to fight. My motto is "Fight like hell." That was something we came up with after I took on someone that I didn't believe should be governor of the state of Maine. And and then oddly enough, Charlie Kirk had invoked those very same words when I was with him down in Scarborough, when it's Saco, it was Old Orchard Beach. And so I didn't realize that until afterwards. But so I kind of forged a relationship with Charlie, and Then he invited me out to Colorado, to Aspen. I
Mhm.
went out there for a weekend with him and all those people. It was kind of cool.
Mhm.
But the fight like hell motto is just something that happened. But
Mhm.
I believe, and I'm not trying to, invoke, violence or
Sure.
fighting. We have to stand for our principles. We got to say who we are. We can't be weak minded. We can't take a path of, tolerance. We can't be tolerant. Right?
Mhm.
Tolerance is what's got us to this position. So that happened with Charlie, and then other things happened. I just said, "All right, I'm in. I'm in it to win it." I think it
Mhm.
was May of last year.
Mhm.
So it's been a year now
Mhm.
of nonstop. You go to my Facebook page, it's David Jones for Governor, and you'll see what I'm talking about. There is, almost 1,000 reels that we've done in the past year, places I've been, things that I've fought for, stood up for people. I think government's gotten to a point where it's not serving us;
Mm.
it's ruling us.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not a ruler. I joke with everybody. I say there's, in a democracy, majority rules, and my name is majority. But the bottom line is we are the majority, and we got to get people to vote. We got to get people to stand up and believe, vote. I mean, we have so many people that do not vote in the state of Maine. It's unbelievable how many people don't vote, especially in primary. We're estimating somewhere between 100 to 110,000 people maximum that are going to vote in the primary.
Out of how many eligible voters?
That's about, say, between unenrolleds and Republicans, because we have an open primary. Unenrolleds can vote in our primary. A lot of
Mhm.
them don't know that,
Mhm.
but we do have an open primary, so you can vote for either the Republican or Democrat, whichever one you favor most. But probably, I'd say 600,000 people, 700,000 people. So
So 100,000-ish out of 600,000, less than 20% of
it's like
eligible voters
15%,
actually
yeah,
vote.
15, 20%, right?
Yeah.
So that's not good.
Do you think there's a reason for that?
Well, I think, yeah, I do. I think that people are really uh, disenchanted
Mm.
with what goes on.
Mhm.
They don't believe anything they see anymore. They don't believe anything they hear, unless they see it, feel it, touch it. Then it's not real. And I think what we have to do is just get them to listen. Our social media platforms have been doing really good.
Mhm.
My daughter Lauren has been working her tail off, doing some great videos. And, a lot of them hit home, but you're only hitting a certain population. We have almost 18,000 followers. That's quite a few people that have, and mine are all organic. We
Yeah.
haven't had to say there's no bots, or I wouldn't even go there. I mean, but we have about 18,000 people that have said, "Oh, I want to follow what this guy's doing."
Mhm.
Now, if I can get all 18,000 people to vote for me, it's a race, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
At least you got the followers. That's an
yeah,
awesome start.
yeah.
I was certainly very politically apathetic for quite a
Mm,
while. When Bush got elected the second time and seemed like there was some shenanigans that happened in the state of Florida. And I kind of tapped out and felt the same way that a lot of the younger culture does, that the government system is broken and my vote doesn't count and doesn't matter because the whole system's rigged
right.
anyway. What would you say to younger people, younger being, subjective, 45 and under, maybe kind of like the millennial crowd and beyond, about, how does the system still have efficacy and why it is important to vote still?
Well, I'll say wake up, right? Because if you don't vote, then they won,
Mm.
right? America is a great country. I've been all over the world, and it's amazing. Yeah, when ever I would come home, I would realize just how great it is. But it's only going to be great for so long if people don't participate in the process. Young people, look, I'm on the back nine. You're on the front nine, right? But you've got to play that game like there's no tomorrow, because you're going to have kids, and they're going to have kids, and I've seen socialism, I've seen capitalism thrive, and I've seen communism fail. I was in Czechoslovakia when it was Czechoslovakia, when they had the Velvet Revolution over there, and they're tearing down statues of Stalin. And I mean, to witness that
Mhm.
shows its failure. There's been no socialist country that's ever really succeeded.
Mhm.
Right? If they call themselves socialist, they're truly, and they're somewhat successful. It's because they're a capitalist country. Freedom is the key, and your voting rights. That's an inherent right you have. It's and if you don't use it, then they win. So you just gotta stop with the nonsense. Yeah, I listen. I get it. I was young. I didn't believe in government. Last thing in my life I ever planned on was running for governor of the state of Maine. This hasn't been a career choice. This has just been a calling. But I tell people all the time, you need to get involved. You need to be part of the process. And as I got drawn in, I really realized how much it meant. It was really, really important to us, to you know, you know, our family, meaning
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
I be involved.
Mhm. Mhm.
My grandkids, when I first started, they were like, "Hey, Papa." I said, "You want Papa to be governor?" "No." I go, "Why not?" This is Elliot, and he said, "Because you won't have as much time to spend with me." I spend a lot of time with my grandkids, but now I saw him the other day. We had a birthday party for my son John, his 40th birthday party. And as I was leaving, he came up and gave me a big hug. He says, "I really want you to be governor, Papa, so I can go to the Blaine house with you."
Haha.
All right. So he's all in. The
Yeah.
kids, they make songs,
Yeah,
but
it's great.
they are the future. All right.
Absolutely.
They are the future. So it's those young minds. I want them to be molded by people who really love our country. I went to the Falmouth High School. Believe it or not, they were not saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mm.
And you're taking federal money, you have to, right? And so I went and I pled my case, and they're saying the Pledge of Allegiance now. I went up to the Lewiston Town Council meetings, over the Iman Osman incident, where the fake councilman was actually appointed. They appointed him to the school board. He barely spoke English,
Mm.
barely, and he was arrested on gun charges, and they
Yeah.
still swore him in.
I saw some of that in the news.
Well,
Yeah.
I was there, and and I gave my speech that night that he was sworn in, and he dropped out. He resigned 2 days later. So that's what people need to do. I stood up. Many other people stood up, and we got the results that should have been. Rinsol, who actually won the election, is now not on the town council as a result of the shenanigans that Mayor Shalene
Mhm.
has pulled in Augusta.
Mhm.
My daughter and I went up, and we were gathering needles and just doing a cleanup around homeless encampments, and see the people living like that. It's pretty sad.
Mm.
So I'm a hands-on guy, right?
Yeah.
Been in the construction business my whole life, real estate business, travel all over the state of Maine, and I see more than the average bear.
Mhm.
And I know the history of Maine. I
Mhm.
really do. I've
Mhm.
lived it. We lived in Bingham, Maine, and a little bit different than living in Falmouth, Maine.
Mhm.
It really is.
Mhm. Mhm.
But you know what? I like the simplicity, but I do like the convenience of Southern Maine. But then when I get into Portland, oh my God, it's just no King's Day. I mean, these people, if they would just take their time and effort to do something productive instead of trying to undermine a presidency. When Biden got elected, I didn't lose my mind and go out and saying, no mindless basement Joe
Yeah.
presidency. I didn't. I could have.
No dementia
Yeah,
protests.
right. We could add it. When Obama was making moves during his presidency that I totally was against, I didn't stay. I mean, I said I didn't like the guy, but he was the president of the United States, and I didn't make any effort to, really, you know,
Yeah.
go out and protest. And I was at a protest up in at BIW.
Mhm.
Pretty amazing.
Mm.
These people were protesting that Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, was coming to BIW. Now, BIW is a much needed piece of business here in the state of Maine. They create so many jobs,
Absolutely.
right? And they
Yeah.
build some of the greatest ships on the planet.
Yeah. My
And
father worked there for a long time. I grew
well,
up
you're
in
from
Bath.
Bath,
It's a
right?
beautiful place.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who lives in Bath pretty much has something to do with BIW, right? But they were there, and they're walking around with no king signs down with the military industrial complex. And I had this guy, I was standing there having a conversation. This guy walked around with these two people that I was talking to about their sign. And he came this close to my face with a whistle and blew at the top of his lungs. I'm telling you, my ears were ringing. Now, instinct being David Jones and who I am, I wanted to jam the damn thing whistle down his face, but down his throat. And I said, no, too many cameras around. But, why would someone come up and assault you like that?
Yeah.
What would make them think that they have the right to do that? What would, and it got so bad that the Republicans left because the writing was on the wall. It was going to get nasty.
Yeah.
I hung around for quite some time. And when that happened, I was like, I better get out of here because if I don't, you know,
Be involved in something you don't want to be.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you can only take so much, but they were
Yeah.
getting, they were getting extremely aggressive.
Mhm.
They had speakers. Why they brought portable PA systems. They were all over the street. It got so bad they had to reroute Pete Hegseth to another entrance,
Yeah.
another path.
Protesting in general has always been a little disheartening to me and even confusing in a way, because what effect does it actually have? And I would say the majority of people that go there have like a lot of anger, and they're angry about things and they want to express their anger. And typically how you do that is through, violence. And it could be verbal violence and getting in somebody's face and blowing a whistle, or hoping that something happens with the local police so that you can really flex and get your anger out. I don't understand it. There's been so many protests, and I feel like they're kind of exponentially like evolving, and so that they get bigger and there's more of them, they're more organized, and oftentimes you kind of follow the money and see where the organizers are getting paid to do these things. And to me, it just feels like honestly a waste. It's a beautiful thing to live on this planet, and people have such a beautiful life force energy that they could be using for things of good, kind of
Yeah.
like you were saying, some good Samaritan work, whether you're helping out the community. And I feel like protests more often than not are actually working against the communities that they're trying to help and promote, because it's just an outlet for anger. And more often than not, percentage of those people probably have some kind of like sickness going on at home, whether they're not mentally healthy, they're not physically healthy, they're not spiritually healthy, they're not financially healthy. There's something that's going on internally that's like driving that anger and make them going out into public. And so, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more that protests seem like they're just ineffective and unnecessary.
Well, there are pimple and the gnats behind, right? You take your weekend and you go there and you flash all these no king signs. You hang them over the bridges. You got distracting, causing accidents on the highway. I mean, it's like, it's dumb.
Mm,
Now, look, if you really care, then make sure you vote for the right people.
hmm
And, we have a process.
hmm
And it's called voting. All
hmm
right. We have primary process. You got to vet out the candidates. And if you find candidates that aren't telling you the truth, you shouldn't vote for them. All right. If someone's telling you the truth, listen. And then when it comes time to cast your vote, regardless of what party they're with, if they're the right person that's qualified to do the job that you're looking to hire them for, then vote for them. All right. People don't, I don't know, they just don't seem to want to learn the facts.
Yeah.
I see it out there. I mean, I've been pretty outspoken about what this one candidate in particular that I think is absolute, pathological liar.
hmm
All right, and so it's all true though. It's not that, and I like the other candidates; they're all good people. But if you're not going to tell the truth, I'm not going to be party to that. We've had several debates, and there's been plenty of opportunity for people. I think I've participated in 21, 22 either forums and debates, and been to other um, countless other Republican and other events out there, committee meetings, and and I'm not done. I'm still done. We've got 2 weeks left to
Yeah.
win this election. And it's up to us. It's up to the voter.
Yeah.
You have to really, really think about when you go in there and you check that box, make sure you know that person. If you don't know that person, you're just voting because someone told you to do it, then
hmm
stay home. I
Yep.
mean, I hate to tell you that, but you should know by this point. I spent a year of my life, away from my family and my business and things that I need to do to run for governor. And I'm not doing it for vanity. I care. I want to win. I want to win for the state of Maine. And I've talked to the other candidates about this. I think most of the candidates have pretty good
hmm
reasons for running.
hmm
And, so we're we're all on board for Maine, and June 9th is the day. It's there. It's here.
Well, it's a great
2 weeks away.
ethos you have there, an amazing rallying cry, I have to say. It's great to know you a little bit personally here. I got a tour of your garden and got to see your chickens and your fruit trees out back before we got started.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that kind of homesteading ethic myself and doing things that are grassroots and sustainable that kind of help you live. And, myself, when it comes, not political aspirations necessarily, but like wanting to be involved and caring, I feel like I tapped out for so long.
A lot of people
And
have.
I was, your classic long-haired hippie for a long time.
So was I.
Blue no matter who, and it was all about
yeah.
environmental policy and anti-war and all the things that, like, what I thought it meant to be a Democrat until I became truly apathetic to the system in general and stopped voting and stopped caring.
Yeah.
And now that I'm older, I feel like I'm becoming more and more conservative with time. And it's a great Shane Gillis bit. You know the comedian Shane Gillis?
No.
He has a hilarious bit about, I think it's his grandfather who's watching a lot of World War II videos. And he said he starts watching World War II videos, documentaries on Netflix and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the joke is that is early onset republicanism. I start watching some old videos of the wars and it slowly takes over. But what I really feel is that Stokes Picks are the world's first organically flavored nicotine toothpicks. Produced in the great state of Maine from American white birch wood, which is sustainably harvested and grown in the great state of Maine. They have incredible flavors: vanilla mint, lemon ginger, cinnamon clove, and absinthe. And if you enter the promo code Enter the Unknown, you'll receive 20% off your order at stokespicks.com. The older you get, especially when it comes to time of responsibility and kind of terms of things that matter, whether it's family or home and property rights, that naturally you become more conservative with time. And, I consider myself a libertarian now, and I appreciate your stance on free market capitalism because I think that's a really important part of what makes this country great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But what are maybe some policies or ideas that you have that would kind of resonate with that more apathetic crowd, the people who are lost, the ones that need to wake up?
Well, like I've traveled all over the state and I've talked to thousands and thousands of people. And originally I thought, well, I want to eliminate the income tax. I mean, let's face it, we don't want to pay tax. We're already getting taxed to death and everything else. So, but then I started hearing the stories of people who were, losing their homes to property tax, or being forced to sell their home because they couldn't pay the property tax, or having to take out a mortgage to pay the property tax. So I've really started to study what other states are doing about eliminating property tax on primary physical residence. You have to be in your home 183 days or more a year, which describes most Mainers, right? Because some of them are so much in economic prison, they can't afford to go anywhere else. But so I'd like to eliminate the property tax on primary residence. You have to live in your home 183 days or more a year. I raise the homestead exemption up to 500,000. And then I have what I call DOGE, David's Office of Government Efficiency.
Love it.
All right. Renamed it. All right. But it's true. What we need to do is find out where the wasteful spending is. I estimate, and I'm a pretty conservative guy, that we have between $1.5 billion and $2 billion in wasteful spending. There's no way anyone could convince me that we were at 7.5 billion and that we need to be at 12.5 billion 8 years later. It took us 200 years to get to 7.5 billion. Janet Millius took it to at least 12 billion. There's some forecasts saying it's 12.5 billion.
That happened really quickly.
Really quickly, cost of living increases would put us about $9 billion. This is one thing I know is money, numbers, right? I know how to I have I just in my head. I don't know what happened or where it came from.
Good head for numbers.
Really good head for numbers.
Good thing to have as a governor.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you're standing there with that power of the pen, and you've got to hold the ground. And so I think what we can do is eliminate property taxes on primary physical residences. Now, that's great, and that will help a lot of seniors stay in their home. There's it'll help younger people, not have to, be able to afford their home. Generational homes will no longer be at risk. So I think that's really a super priority. Now, right along there's like 4 or 5 parallels, right?
Mhm.
Things on the same level.
Mhm.
Well, the other one is affordable energy.
Mhm.
Now, energy is like gone through the roof. Since Janet Mills has been in office, our electric bills have gone up 115% and climbing. We're not done, right? And Maine got its own color on the map. We're at 36% increase in 12 months. That's 2 times the second place holder, which is Connecticut. Everything else is in a small incremental cost of living type stuff, right?
Mhm.
But we went up 36% because of the ideology, all right? The hidden agenda for these alternative fuels and energy. I'm against wind. I'm against solar. Totally. You want it? Pay for it. Don't pay
Mhm.
for it on my back. So I want to get rid of net energy billing, and
Mhm.
I want to make sure that we have affordable natural gas, and I want to put small modular nuclear reactors in the state of Maine. With about 4 or 5 of them,
Bring back
uh,
nuclear.
it's here.
That's what I'm
We've
talking about.
we've been having look, it's been used in submarines for 50, 60 years, no incidents.
Mhm.
All right, and that's in a closed quarters.
Mhm.
Why can't we have it on land? So, back in the day, everybody was against Yankee. I'll put I have a property right there in Wisconsin where Yankee was, and
Mhm.
I'll put one in my backyard. So I'm going to put my property where my mouth is, right?
All right.
All right, but
It's commitment.
and the transmission lines are already in place, so it can be done relatively quickly
Mhm.
if you cooperate with the federal government. I could tell you, I'm not going to say I'll see you in court.
Mhm.
All right,
Mhm.
I mean, this woman has totally destroyed any credibility for our state,
Mhm.
and the idea that she can thwart the president of the United States and federal government and kind of telling them, swim upstream, is not what anything I would do or David Jones as governor would do.
Mhm.
So I'm a team player with that. Um, so we have to have affordable energy. And then the third thing really is education. We've got kids that learn DEI, SEL, CRT.
Mhm.
Now, look, I don't care what you do with your life, all right?
Mhm.
But don't influence my children. We're entrusting you with our children to go to learn,
Mhm.
like I learned, like you learned, and my kids all learned, right? We want you to read and write, we want
The
to
basics.
understand, yeah, understand histories, civics, understand how our government works, what makes our republic a republic, and what the United States Constitution says and what the Maine Constitution says.
Mhm.
So there are so many attacks. They want to disregard these documents.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know what happened 250 years ago in that room when they came up with it, but it's pretty darn good, pretty
Mhm.
darn good document. I've read it. And I encourage everybody else to read it too. It's really pretty amazing.
Hmm.
So if you look at it and you say, how could they have had the foresight to write these things like they did? And they're timeless.
Mm.
And so, if we're going to make changes to it, we better be careful. All right. I say, it's one of the purest documents ever written. It was written for us, we the people, and I want to enforce that. So, rule of law is really important, but that's going to help us with these schools. The idea that they don't want to say the Pledge of Allegiance in school. What's wrong with patriotism? What's wrong with loving your state and loving your country? They're being taught to be activists. I mean, I just I get furious when I see it. I've been to several school board meetings of boys and girls sports. You look at this Shanna Bellows. I mean, she wants to get now. It looks like the boys and girls sports might be for this year.
Mm.
This is a 90-10 issue. This isn't like, an issue that just a couple of people in the state of Maine. There was 170,000 signatures, like boom, and they were able to whittle it down, and now I don't know how we're gonna fight it. Maybe take it to court and see
Mm.
what happens. But she's got an agenda, and she shouldn't be She should not be governor. One, she shouldn't be secretary of state. She's not representing the people. You should never know who the Secretary of State's name is. You
Mm.
really shouldn't. You just should know that they do their job and
Mhm.
they process. So she's going to oversee my election, my ballots, her ballots, everyone else's ballots. We found 250 ballots ended up in the mail. All right, 250 envelopes at another address. So what's happening here?
Mm.
So if you want credibility, you got to have paper ballots and to get rid of this. I say, one man, one vote. Bottom line, ranked choice voting. I actually sued over ranked choice voting. Ironically enough, it's probably the reason I'll be the next governor is through ranked choice voting. But bottom line, I'll still get rid of it.
Yeah.
Our Constitution says
Good. Happy to
plurality,
hear that.
all right? So I want to get rid of ranked choice voting. It's got to happen. One man, one vote. We've done it for 200 years here in the state of Maine. And, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
That we elected bad people? Well, in her case.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It doesn't seem to make sense. Like, how's that legal that the Secretary of State can oversee their own election? There's just such a conflict of interest
It
there.
absolutely is. Absolutely a conflict of interest, and ethically, it's wrong. I don't. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of lawyers, overseeing this, from all sides, just to make sure that what's done is done. I mean, look, she single-handedly eliminated the voter ID opportunity. She has single-handedly has eliminated now boys and girls sports. She single-handedly got rid of the chickadee on the license plate. She lost the election on the flag. All right, people voted against
Crime
it.
getting rid of chickadee, by the way. I gotta say,
I wear a chickadee on my jacket vest.
I love that plate for so much. I'm keeping those old plates.
Me too. Well, I'm putting
too.
them on. We'll go.
And what a disaster also that they didn't, proofread the plates where if you had 7 numbers, it printed on top of the tree. And so then there was all for all of the plates, which maybe was under her purview as well. How many of that millions of dollars that cost?
And
the
then to do it out
taxpayers in
and then print them out of state in Canada.
And they're printed out of the country.
Out of the country, yeah.
Even worse.
Yeah. So, and then you look at the top of the tree, and that pretty much says it all. Right?
For those of you who don't know, there's a little conspiracy that there's a middle finger giving you the F you at the top of the tree.
Right?
It looks, I've seen it. It looks like a middle finger.
It is. I mean, there could have been a lot of ways to do it besides what they did.
Yeah.
So she lost it on the flag. So you look at this and you see what they're doing. You look at what Janet Mills has done. You look what Hannah Pingree has done. All right. And you look what Nirav Shah has done. I sued over COVID in 2019. Now, I wasn't running for office when I did this. I just did it because I care. All right. And I had the ability to coalesce the people together to raise the money to hire Steve Smith. And of course, we lost these suits. Right. I mean, we didn't figure we would win.
And what did you file suit over?
I filed suit over violating our 4th, 5th, and 6th constitutional rights during COVID. Right. They said I didn't have standing because I was found. What was the word they used for us? Essential. Right. I was an essential guy.
Oh,
in the real estate business. But we had a lot of people who signed on that were
in the liquor store.
Right. Or 9:00 because COVID comes out at 9:01. I mean, just the rules were so bad. And this Nirav Shah. I mean, I've been with all these candidates. I know them all. I'm the only guy running for governor that's been involved for over 20 years here in the state of Maine for, conservative politics without holding office, which I think is my best credential. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lobbyist. I'm not a career politician, and I'm not a DC swamp rat. Right. We don't need that. What we need in Maine is people who love Maine for the right reasons, have their business in Maine, have their family in Maine, have invested in Maine. I'm the only one. Think about it. I mean, you look at the credentials of all the Republican candidates. I mean, nice guys. I mean, I'm friends with all of them. I mean, except for one. But you look at all these other candidates. They're not bad people. But do they have the chutzpah? Do they have what it takes to get it done? I mean, are they the kind of people that could bring people together? And
do you have lobbyists approach you?
I'm not a guy who's been. I've been very clear about my position on lobbyists. There's no lobbyist money invested in my campaign. All my contributions are from non-traditional donors.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not part of that.
No bias, no sway.
None. I don't owe anybody anything in Augusta.
APAC's not coming to you.
No, we don't have anybody. All right, nobody. I have no PAC money. I have nothing. I've done it all. All I know probably raised about $620,000, $630,000.
That's great.
Which is not bad. I mean, and we didn't waste it.
Nothing to shake a stick at.
No, it's a lot of money. But the bottom line is could have used more. Still can. We're in the final push, and we're out there still trying to raise, because the more we have at this point, the more last punch stuff we can hit with. We haven't done TV. We've done social media. We've done mailers. We've done emails, and we've done direct text with video. And I think those go right to the voter's heart. So we're Well, I'd say we're very grassrootsy.
Hmm.
We've got all the people that supported Paula Page, those groups, Maine Tea Party, Maine X, Maine Rising, all these different people, they've coalesced behind me.
That's great.
So if that following
Hmm.
of people
Hmm.
gets out and votes,
Yeah,
it could be ours.
that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Uh, you in contact with Steve Robinson and the Maine Wire? You have
Oh,
support
yeah.
from those
Sure.
folks over there?
Yeah, well, I don't know. They're I'd say kind of apolitical in some ways.
Definitely.
John Featherston and I, we're pretty good friends because we
Hmm.
see each other all the time.
Yeah.
If there's something happening in Lewiston,
Hmm.
he comes here. He knows I'm going to be there. I'm
Yep.
there. It just happens
Yep.
because I'm involved and people call me if there's something school board meeting
Hmm.
happening that I need to be at and come to speak at.
Hmm.
I went up to Sullivan at RS 24
Yeah.
and we stopped. We got them to support no boys and girls sports. I think they're one of the 8
It's
that are
great.
being sued by the state for
Hmm.
not for going against Janet Mills'
As they should.
ruling. Right?
Yeah. Hmm.
I mean, the idea of boys and girls sports. Come on, let's face it. I'm 6 foot tall, 215 pounds. By age 18, most boys are, you know, getting, to
Close
full
to full
growth,
grown. Yeah.
right? And then they're going to put them in a volleyball team or a track team against, 5'4", 100-pound, 110-pound girls.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. I couldn't
Right.
agree more.
I mean, and
Inherently,
where,
it's
where are the
wrong.
parents? Why aren't the parents saying, "Hey, no way, Jose, stand back," you know,
Hmm.
get your mind right. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. To me,
There
you
seems
know,
to be a lot of fear in the culture these days. People don't want to step outside of the norm. It's that pack herd mentality where if you stray aside, you put yourself into danger. And yeah, it's just kind of disappointing that that seems to be the mainstream narrative and what's acceptable and what's
mm,
not. And people have lost that willingness to kind of fight, as you said, to
I
fight like
haven't.
hell and get up and stand out against it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's a great turn of phrase.
yeah,
And you had referenced, that this political battle is like a blood sport.
yes.
What do you anticipate being some of your biggest battles that you're gonna have to fight here in the next, few weeks coming up?
2 weeks,
2
right?
weeks.
2 weeks. Listen, who you never know. It's you wake up in the morning, you get up, you brush your teeth, you have your coffee, you get out, you go to whatever appointment you're going to do, and you never know what's going to hit you. But I'll say this: they've tried. They can't upset my apple cart. They haven't attacked me because unlike all the others that have baggage, I don't have
Mhm.
any.
Mhm.
So that's been, kind of comforting.
Mhm.
But, you never know. People can make up stuff, but they haven't tried that yet. And I'm going to let them all fight amongst themselves. And I'm going to keep putting my message out there. We're doing this series right now. It's conversations across Maine, different people from different trades and walks of life. And
Mhm.
appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, so include myself, I'm
Right?
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But the big thing really is that you know state of course.
Mhm.
And I've said it from day one. If I saw a better candidate, I would have dropped out and I would have supported them. I'm still in the race. So I'm telling you, I haven't seen a better candidate, not being conceited about this. So it's like, all my life, I've fought against the odds.
Mhm.
All my life.
Mhm.
I was born with no money. My
Mhm.
parents were poor, and legitimately, like I hear all these sob stories and all these things, but I know what it's like to be poor,
Mhm.
and not have the things that my friends had,
Mhm.
and that was my motivation in life to do better and then to make it a better place for me and then to have a family and want my kids. I don't want them going through that.
Mhm.
And in the construction business, there were times we had, I don't know, 3 or 4 recessions in my lifetime, right? That's like every 10-year cycle. Some you're ready for, some you're not, right?
Yeah.
And, so you just gotta fight, fight, fight to
Mhm.
stay alive, and
Mhm.
so you gotta overcome the odds, but, when you look at what I'm offering as, a governor is I'm offering 4, maybe 8 years of my life that I could be spending doing literally anything that I want to do.
Yeah.
I I'm an active guy. I'm not the kind of guy that sits around and waits for something to happen. I make things happen.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm always on the go. I
You
got
could
my
just be playing golf and
well, I'm not a golfer. I'm the
talking
worst.
smack about politics like
Yeah,
everybody else.
yeah, I'm the worst golfer you ever saw. But I like to hunt. I like to fish. I like this. I used to like to ski. I don't do that anymore. I like going out on a boat. But most of all, I like hanging out with my grandkids.
Yeah.
And they're a very integral part of my life. It's
Mhm.
I'm very fortunate to have 8 grandkids. Right,
Mhm.
they're great kids. So when you have a beautiful family and a beautiful life, you're honestly giving up,
Mhm.
especially at this point in my life. Like
Mhm.
I said, I'm on the back 9, right?
Mhm.
How long will I live? So,
Yeah.
I'm willing to take 4, maybe 8 years of my life and dedicate it to the state of Maine to
Mhm.
make it a better place.
Mm.
And I know everybody. Everybody knows me. In the circles of politics, they know who I am.
Mhm.
I've been extremely outspoken about anybody,
Mhm.
regardless of Republican or Democrat or on a roll. If I didn't like what you were doing, you knew it, and I put my money where my mouth is, or where other people haven't. And so I would just say that with me as the governor, I think Maine would be in a better place, right? Because I can sit in that office with an open door anytime,
Mhm.
because I do have an open door policy. I've been that way my whole life, and listen to people, work with people, and I think that's what you need as a governor. You need to make sure you have someone who has your back, and that's my job.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I like to ask my guests one last thing when I close, which is, do you have a favorite quote, words of wisdom or advice to give out there? Something you'd give a grandkid or even just a stranger on the street? Anything comes to mind?
Yeah, well, my family always said, "Can't doesn't exist in the Jones vocabulary."
Can't doesn't exist. I like
Right.
it. Like the yoga, not Yoda's saying, there is no try. Similar, right?
Well, maybe. Yeah, I never listened to Yoda, but can't. I tell my kids, if you make your mind up that you want to do something or you want to be something, and you work diligently to get there,
Hmm.
you can do it. And I want to be the opportunity governor.
Hmm.
I believe in the American dream. I have lived the American dream. I did. I'm sitting
Hmm.
here with you today, and
Hmm.
people would even consider me to be the next governor of the state of Maine. Is an honor. Right, but it was nothing, and it was not design. It was on my design of life.
Hmm.
My
Hmm.
design of life was to go ahead and succeed and work hard and raise my family, and then enjoy my life later on. So I'm at that point where I could be enjoying my life later on,
Hmm.
but know me as the guy, as the opportunity governor, who will bring freedom and opportunity back to Maine, and I'll teach each and every one of you younger folks that can't doesn't exist in an American vocabulary.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
That's great. Way to extend it out there. Well, thank you so much for your, willing sacrifice for the state of Maine and the people.
Yeah.
I think that our ideologies really align, and I appreciate your ethics. And thanks for the time to do this interview with me, David.
Bye. Thanks for having me,
Take
bud.
care. Yeah, good luck in the race. We'll
All
see you
right.
in 2 weeks in the ballot box,
2
folks.
weeks. Get out, vote, vote,
Get
vote.
out and
All right.
vote.
All right.
Yeah, there
Jeez.
it is.
This is it. This is where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Well, cheers. Thank you again.
thank you.